All right, all right, brothers and sisters, man. We always shake and move, and man, we doing a trifecta right now. We got two amazing brothers that are gonna discuss. If you don't know anything about them, you're gonna learn some amazing stuff in just a few minutes. But we are going live on both Bean Soup Times and Hip Hop Detoxx pages. So y'all like, share, and first of all, you always know it's gonna be some enlightenment, some encouragement, some knowledge you're gonna get from brother Enoch Muhammad. And you always know you're gonna get that encouragement, that enlightenment from our brother Youngkhan ThaDon. But it's just something about the spark. He got just the extra oomph in it, man. Where you might mess around. See, Enoch gonna have you doing 100 sit-ups, and Youngkhan ThaDon gonna have you doing 100 push-ups. So you get the whole core done, man. So assalamu alaikum. What's going on, black men?
What's good with it?
Man, we're doing good, man. We heard a little bit of this new music by Kendrick Lamar, and brother Enoch called me with some lyrics in there that was just mind-blowing. And we said we want to have a conversation. Of course, man, when we talking about hip-hop, we talking about music, we talking about the cultural relevance of it today, yesterday, and tomorrow. Man, we got these YouTube brothers are very pivotal and critical in this conversation. So we wanted to get some responses from you on Kendrick Lamar's new music.
Well, I would say just first and foremost, thank you, and of course, brother Youngkhan, for coming on, for this. I don't even want to say reactionary. This is just a response because we've been doing this kind of work for a while in terms of just analyzing what we call popular culture, and unfortunately, what we call popular culture has really come to be weaponized to be just popular pain and popular trauma, and popular poison. So Kendrick Lamar, we won't even go. I think this part we won't even go into the first, as Young Khan put it, his strategic marketing move with the Heart Part 5. That was awesome, right? That was like the attention getter. But 13 hours it's been since he dropped this album. 13 hours. When I first heard it, it was 7 hours after he dropped it, and I'm not making it up. I was working out this morning, getting my workout in, and I started listening to different tracks, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm listening to his wordplay. I'm listening to the musicality, the content, the whole frequency of everything that he's putting out there. As I'm listening, I said, hey, he said Detoxx in one of these songs. I think it's even two songs. I think he may have mentioned it, but it's one song in particular, which is the title track of his project, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. And it's the very first line. And so, my wife, Miss Keisha, she said, hold up for a minute, play that again. So I played it. He said Enoch. I said, no, I ain't hear that. I played it 3 times, and after I played it 3 times, I said, he did say it. Let me go to YouTube. My first mind is go to one of those lyric videos, right? So the lyric video, when I first did a screenshot, the lyric video read, Enoch your fathers, your detox, my calling is right on time, transformation. Now, before I even go anywhere further, it's rapid fire. Like this verse, he just rapid fire. So he popping off. You know what I mean? So I said, hold up a minute. Enoch your fathers, your detox, my calling is right on time, transformation. After I listened to it a couple of times, I said, okay, he doesn't just drop stuff haphazardly because he's talking about Oprah, he's talking about R. Kelly and the molestation and if he would have been different, if he wouldn't have been molested himself, and he's talking about Oprah and closure. I mean, he's going into a whole lot of things that you do in a therapeutic process, things that you do when you're going into a trauma-informed type of process or restorative practice type of process, or any process that's geared to help you deal with pain. You know, those things that have happened in your life that sometimes are considered somatic, in the sense that it's on a cellular level. It's not just something that, you know, you consciously are acting out. Certain things are subconscious, and certain things you may not even you're not cognizant of, because it's inside the body on a cellular level. So as I'm listening to this, I'm like, okay, there's nothing regular about what he's dropping here. This is very strategic, very methodical. And I heard Youngkhan, the brother, drop the album and then flew out to Africa. They got it on the media. They said CNN, Rolling Stone, they said he dropped it and then he immediately got on the plane to Ghana. So he's gonna let people stew and consider what he just dropped as far as his masterpiece. So I'm off top saying that this is a masterpiece. I'm off top. I've listened to all the tracks now. If I'm not mistaken, it's 18 of them. And I'm gonna re-listen to it a couple of more times, because some of the songs on there is really it's powerful. It's more than just food for thought. And I'm gonna let Brother Youngkhan give his initial thoughts about it, because there's a lot of thoughts I have. But just in terms of the introduction of what I thought, the first thing I heard was the Part 5. I'll say it again.
Now go ahead, keep talking.
Okay. The first thing I heard, of course, a few days ago, like everyone else was the Heart Part 5. However, after listening to the album, the Heart Part 5 did its job for the marketing purposes, but I think a lot of layers of content was even in that. It wasn't just a visual, salute, so to speak, to Michael Jackson and him being the first artist to have a video where you see all the people morphing, and it was women morphing, and Asians and Mexicans and blacks and whites. Michael Jackson did it big, when he did it on his video. However, looking at where Kendrick went from that particular, introduction to the release of his project, I would say that this right here deserves a listen and a re-listen, because you're not going to catch everything all at one time. There's a lot of layers and depth to this project. So I'm just going to stop right there, and I'll come back around for some of my other thoughts about it. But go right ahead.
And the fact that he dropped it, or as the media is reporting, that he went to Africa, our teacher, one of our teachers, the great and honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, said that his teacher, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, told him that when you set a fire, it's not sit around and watch it burn. Or if you are in a house and the house is burning, if the enemy looks up, it's best you be holding a bucket of water.
Mm-hmm.
So in any case, we know that there's fire present. Fire all through his lyrics. And as with any great artist, being an artist myself, one of the beautiful things about art is, like beauty, is in the eye of the beholder. So when you really put good art up, it leaves all of these various perspectives. And you may look at it and see one thing. I'll look at it and see something else. We'll seek to give it our interpretations, as the Holy Quran says. Some of his verses are decisive, others are allegorical. But in the person's heart whose there is perversity, they follow the allegorical parts instead of those that are decisive, seeking to give it their own interpretation. And none knows its interpretation except our brother Kendrick. So he can put it out there, and we gonna look, and you gonna look, and I'm gonna look, and the people gonna look and say, no, I meant this, no, I meant that. But until he himself says, well, actually, what had happened was X, Y, and Z, to give us a more accurate viewpoint. And whose viewpoint better to take on than the actual artist of the work itself. But I think it's very entertaining, enlightening, nourishing, and fulfilling to have a piece of art to even talk about especially in this critical time that we are living in, where mass confusion seems to be the order of the day, where we don't even know our own genders anymore. We don't know if we black, we white, we coming, we going, we up or we down, we in or we out. We need somebody that's willing to take a stand and say, hey, it is what it is, whether you love me or hate me. Everybody gonna stand on their truth, so I'm gonna get my truth to stand on as well. But I digress. That's my opening about what I, brother.
You know, it's funny when you say that. You know, it's a lot of music that comes out that that people get excited about. And I don't know, it's a lot of music that a lot of us don't get excited about. As a matter of fact, it's a whole lot of music that's not exciting at all, because it's a problem when you have 10 million artists and 95% of them sound exactly like one another, and they're talking about the same exact thing. So off top, it's very refreshing to have someone to say, I'm going to produce an art that reflects what I sincerely think or believe or think about, and I'm going to put it out there, and I know Youngkhan, you're one of the ones working with Hip Hop Detoxx that, that's one of the main reasons why we love working with you and Gat Turner and D.A. Smart and Grayco and, Ariane and Akila Nihanda and, Malika, and just a lot of different artists that we work with, because the reality is that when you're able to take your art form and use it for higher purposes, for elevation, use your art form and your talent for a purpose that's bigger than yourself, that's always more, it's long lasting. You have longevity in that because you're connecting yourself with truth. And when people talk about hip hop, people forget that, look, James Brown said in the 60s, who stole the soul?
Come on.
Who stole the soul? Well, when we talk about hip hop, come on now. You don't see a lot of the artists today, even the ones, you got certain ones, they try their best to make sure that at least a couple of those elements of hip hop culturally are part of what they do. So the DJ has been consistent. That's a blessing. That's the number one right there. You got to have the DJ. However, when it comes to the dancers, well, you got some dancing going on, but you don't have the B-boy and B-girl element as it was, unfortunately, with a lot of acts, But you do have certain acts, they keep that going. They keep the graffiti going, some. The MCing, well, that's questionable. Some may say that's MCing, right. Some may say, well, that's just rapping, and some may say, well, they're doing their form of the blues right now. That's what they're doing. But as you say, everybody can interpret. However, there's one thing that we have to be real careful in interpreting is the truth or the knowledge or the science, which is the fifth element, which was siphoned out of hip hop, consistently siphoned out, or is blocked. Like my man Too Short, when he wanted to do an album that was talking about the condition of our people, and they told him, well, we don't want you to do that right now, but do the most degrading, filthy, nasty, album that you can do that one first, and then we'll come back full circle and you can do an uplifting one, and which of course we know that didn't happen. And of course he felt some type of way, from what I understand, that he wasn't able to do that. But there's a lot of artists that get done like that because their intention is, yes, I want to be uplifted, I want to be able to live better, so I don't have to go out and rob and steal and do the things that I used to do before I got on the mic. However, those who realize that there's some benefit to the poison and they invest in the poison, they want to keep the poison going. So I just want to just put out there that for all those, even Brother Toure, in how you use your talent and your artistry as a journalist, as someone that takes it on a whole different level when it comes to the media. All of us have a choice to make. There are a lot of poisonous and rusty locks out there. The question becomes, how are you choosing to use what you have so that you can produce an antidote to this poison? And that's why we on here talking about Kendrick Lamar, because he dropped some antidote. He put a little antidote out there for the masses of the people, and the poison is present. He's most definitely showing you the poison. However, there's a lot in it that can direct you towards the antidote. So I would encourage people to really take the time to listen to this album because there's a lot in it. And I think that it could be the tip of the spear when it comes to a lot that can come behind it. Somebody
Man,
said, oh.
Talk a little bit about that a little bit more. And I know we're talking about Kendrick Lamar, but I'm going to throw another artist in there because I feel like there's something similar. G Herbo, right? He's been talking a lot about post-traumatic trauma, right? And his one of his latest pieces. Is there a trend starting where artists are being a lot more, you see some self-reflection, but now is there more that can look at it from a bigger picture, right? And seeing, right, some of the pitfalls and the traps and the poison that is in hip hop and trying to figure out a way to get out of it.
Well, I think that from that vantage point, shout out to G Herbo, first of all, because he on fire right now, as many are. But I think we can never take our eye off the enemy. No matter, there's always a hidden hand and a hidden agenda. And a smart, wise, crooked deceiver is smart enough to create the problem and sell the solution. First of all, he creates the atmosphere to get you to join in. He mass markets the problem. Wholesale, mass level. And then once you buy into the problem, he then begins to market that there's a need for a solution after he has skillfully positioned himself to be the beneficiary. Because as we say during hip hop, there was the golden era, right? Where everybody was conscious. We had on X hats, African, red, black, and green, this, fight the power, that. Oh, yeah. But he was cashing the checks. So he didn't really care if there is truth present, as long as he's able to mix it with falsehood. And my brother Enoch has his new book out called Poison. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, in his great book, How to Eat to Live, said that everything that we eat of this world contains some degree of poison. In fact, about it, in the medical world, they will tell you that all medicine is poison. It just depends on the dosage that it is administered that will determine if it does harm or if it does good, because you have to have this poison to get rid of that poison. And that's why when we watch the commercials, they say, are you suffering headaches? Do you have trouble sleeping at night? Well, guess what? Look no further. We have this pillar killer, this pillar killer right here. You take 2 of these at night, but then the side effects be under the bottom of that. We gonna get we gonna help you to go to sleep, but it may cause nausea, or it may cause constipation. It may cause your heart to erupt. It may cause this. It may cause that. But your head don't hurt no more. So the enemy is very wise, brother, to where he will promote. He creates the trauma, then markets those to look like they are dealing with the trauma effectively. Meanwhile, now a whole slew of people will come out now, and everybody's going to be so self-aware, and then he just rinses and repeats the cycle all over again until those that are using their gifts and their talents realize that they don't even need him to begin with. It's only when we rise up and recognize that we can go direct to our consumers now because of social media, because of these platforms. We don't need a label when we have the power to organically grow our own audience from scratch. And as an OG once told me, he said, trees grow in silence. You never heard a tree grow, but everywhere you look, you see another tree providing shade. And one thing you don't want to do is run into a tree with your car, because you're going to total your car every time. But a tree is one of the strongest things sitting out here, but nobody hears it grow. So the lesson to me is we have to begin now to utilize these platforms to be able to put our message out there and to be our authentic self. And our vibe will begin to attract our tribe. And as we who that are courageous enough to practice healing our traumas in the open, we then will inspire other people to deal with theirs and begin to unwrap the gifts in all of our people. I know it was a little long answer, but
hey, the tree is firmly rooted.
That's right.
It's firmly rooted, and it's networks and networks. You know what I mean? Hey, when you talking about that poison, you remember that commercial? The nighttime, sniffling, sneezy, coffee, achy, stuffy, if you can rest medicine.
No.
Right.
Well, so you get all these symptoms, right? However, if you don't ever deal with the root cause, you're going to keep on having the sniffling, sneezy, coffee, achy, stuffy, if you can rest. You're going to have all those symptoms because NyQuil will knock you out. You might get some rest. But if you got an issue and you keep on re-triggering and re-stimulating that particular issue, you got to be buying NyQuil or that treatment every other month. You know what I mean? Every time there's a season to get sick, you're going to get sick. Some people, I remember back in the day, we used to say, yeah, we always get sick in the wintertime. Or we always get sick in September. Or always catch a summer cold. Well, no, that's not normal or natural unless someone is intentionally creating the conditions where everybody may not get sick, but the majority or enough will, where you can make some money off of it because somebody has produced the conditions. And I hear exactly what you're saying, because the reality is that all the different tracks I heard from Kendrick this morning, those tracks dealt with pre-existing conditions. And we've been hearing a lot about the PECs or the pre-existing conditions.
That's right.
Since the pandemic. Well, we've had pre-existing conditions spiritually, mentally, morally, economically for the past 467 plus years. As a matter of fact, let's say 500, let's round it off. Since 1555, we've had some pre-existing conditions within the American experiment that we're involved in. And that's one of the main reasons why when we wrote the book Poison, we start the book off letting you know that we acknowledge that we are part of the American experiment.
That's right.
As being part of the American experiment, we can never forget that, look, we have to now choose. We're at a point now, we're in the valley of decision. We have to choose whether or not we truly want to be free, or do we still want to be part of an experiment where we're in a controlled group. You know, we're in that group where we're allowing ourselves to be made into what the rulers have made the people, which some people call them sheep. Some people call them slaves. Some people just outright say, well, hey, these are just a whole bunch of dead folks.
Come on.
Whether we say dead or poison, it's the same thing. And we have to now detox the poison. We now have to look at how we can produce an antidote, because everybody has their degree of poison, which means you have an opportunity to produce an antidote where other people, they may have similar or the same types of poisons that you have been afflicted with. And we all now have to agree, let's go ahead and take our poison books and produce an antidote out this poison. So that way we can help ourselves, our family, and our people. And so we give kudos again to Kendrick, because that's exactly what I'm hearing him do with this project.
Hey, brother Enoch.
Yes, sir.
I'm just gonna go ahead and put this out here, just for the sake of clarity, right? I am 100% in agreement with what you're saying, and I also think that our brother is reaching out to you and has shouted you out, and until he says something different, I'm gonna stand on this, because if these lyrics are what they are, Enoch, your father's, your detox, my calling is right on time. Now, I'm not necessarily a serious student of the life of Enoch in the Bible, but I don't recall reading about something that talks about him having a detox, right? So I'm gonna go reread that. So I don't know any other brother that has had an organization for decades, right, dealing with hip hop detox. At least what, 15, 20 years? When did you start Hip Hop Detoxx?
We started Hip Hop Detoxx as the name of our work in 2006. That's when we started the so we did our 10-year anniversary in 2016. So now we're at our 25 years now?
Going on 16.
Going on 16 years, right. So
16, yeah.
Hey, unless when he come back from Africa, if he don't say nothing different, then we need to help make this plug and this connection.
Yes, sir. Hey, look, Youngkhan, he knows when you writing, you know when you dropping something. You know, you know when you put certain things out there and you connect them dots. You know, people who know. It's like, you know, those who know won't say, and those who who say may not know what they're talking about.
Even know. Hey, but what was the Kerner? What was it? The Kerner Commission years ago that said there were 2 languages in America, 1 black and 1 white. It's 3 languages now. It's 1 black, 1 white, and 1 hip hop. So man, he spoke some language. He put it out there in hip hop language.
And it also, hip hop is a universal language that speaks multiple dialects.
Yes.
And it comes on different frequencies. And Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, even the title. Because we live in a world now that has lost its moral compass. There is no sense of morale. There is no sense of shame or right from wrong. Our vision has become blurred by the mind of a smart and crooked deceiver. So when we step into the world of Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, it's like stepping into the doctor's office to get diagnosis. So he's sitting there with his pad, right, with his pen and his pad. Headaches. Okay. When the last time you had something to drink? Your family be fighting too? Oh yeah. Okay. Baby mama drama. See, he's diagnosing. Now that our brother Kendrick has done the diagnosis with the album, now it's time for the doctors to come in. It's time for the doctors to come in with the medicine that can help to heal the people, not just diagnose the problem. And that's where the higher levels of consciousness come in. That's where the heck of a Meccas come in. That's where the D.A. Smarts and the Gap Turners and the Youngkhan and Dons come in. See, we come in with our private practices and we bring you in. Now we got to give you the right medicine, that holistic human development. Look out, brother Enoch. We got to give you holistic human development that's going to fix you from the inside out and not just have you as a repeat customer. Because they designed the thing to have you keep coming back, keep coming back, keep coming back. Well, we'd rather just give you the proper prescription so we can do like we are taught from our ancient ancestors, heal thyself. Yeah, see, you got to be able to heal yourself today, but you can't heal a problem that you don't even know that you have. So shout out again to our brother Kendrick, man, for diagnosing so eloquently in the Auntie Diaries. Oh yeah, brother Tori, you got a song called Auntie Diaries. Says Auntie is a man now. Then he say Demetrius is a woman.
Yes,
I mean, he deep dives into that thing, man. I don't want to spoil it for y'all, but spoiler alert. He says Auntie.
Yeah.
He says, Demetrius is a woman now. And how does the church feel about that? How does the friends and the family feel about that? Which reminds me of a comedian that just came all the way out the closet, brother Gerard Carmichael. If you have not seen it, he got a new comedy special on Netflix right now. And I don't know if y'all got a chance to check it out, but
I ain't see it yet.
In a similar vein of Kendrick Lamar, but from a comedic perspective, we know brother Gerard Carmichael. If anybody in the world of comedy knows anything about comedians and brilliant writers, our brother Gerard Carmichael, he's in the upper echelon when it comes to those that got that gift and the ability to make people laugh and put intelligence deep into the comedy. He comes on this special, man, and he begins to give the anatomy of his family trauma and the fact that he never really went by his first name. His first name being Rothaniel. The world don't know that. He said, but it was a combination of both of his grandfathers. And then he went, Brother Enoch, into the history of his grandfather's male and female relationship history. And both his grandfathers were married, and one of the grandfathers had 4 children outside of the marriage. Just imagine the psychological effects of that. The other grandfather had 25 children outside of the marriage. He had 4 children in his marriage and 25 outside of the marriage. And then the grandmas, one of the grandmothers had 3 children from sleeping with a married man. And you know the whole town is knowing everybody's business. And he said that his mother seemed to have been the only one that didn't know what was going on.
Wow.
He seemed to be oblivious, but he knew, so he carried this secret all of his younger life. And it troubled him and pained him because that was his mother. And to think that his mother would suffer from the exposure of what was happening with his father being out, having these outside relationships, how deeply that impacted him. And he set the whole audience up. He said, I carried that secret. And then one day I came, and y'all have to watch it to see how he dealt with it. He said, but I got a secret too that I've been carrying. And he dropped the secret right in the middle of the comedy act. Oh, and suddenly it wasn't funny no more. Now you were watching him in real time deal with the fact that he verbalized, not just to that audience, but to the world that would see this broadcast, that he now could live in his truth with his, as he called him, his vanilla king. He could live in his truth now. And be full, he all the way out with wings on, flying in the world that he's choosing to live in. And so I just think that it's stunning that those two things would happen almost simultaneously. But I respected his willingness to dig into his own trauma to see how he got to where he is now. But even though that has been exposed, like you say, Brother Enoch, once the problem has been diagnosed, okay, we see what it is, but what's the answer? What's the solution? Is Allen Iverson in the house? We need the answer, y'all. But we trying to show you, Brother Toure is trying to show you in his lane. Brother Enoch is trying to show you in his lane. Brother Youngkhan ThaDon is trying to show you in his lane. 19 Keys trying to show you in his lane. Our brother Ben X is trying to show you in his lane that there is a solution. But are we willing to take the medicine in order to be healed from all of these things that are plaguing us, and we can't soundtrack our way through it? Oh, no, we can't laugh our way through it. Oh, no, we got to take the medicine. It might be a little bitter in our mouth, but it would be sweet in our stomach if we would just be willing to choose life over death. And I think we lived under death for so long, mentally, morally, spiritually, socially, politically, economically. And now the people are crying out all over the world for life. And this is why we see the governments tumbling down. The leaders are being hurled out of position, because it's time for Mr. Morale and the big steppers to come on in and reset.
Yeah. And it's not little steppers, big steppers.
Come on,
big
with
steppers.
it. The big steppers at.
Big steppers.
Man, what you all are saying, it just makes me reflect on the value, the importance, the beauty of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan putting us on a course of study of self-reflection, self-improvement, the basis for community development. And I can't recall the lecture, but he said in one lecture, this was one of those final call lectures, I believe. He said that the most uncharted, uncultivated, and undeveloped space in the universe is our mind.
Come on.
And once if we can harness the power of our mind to really become who we are, removing the poisons first, because like many of us may start off thinking that we have one career track. We go to college and we study to get this degree. But how many people are actually living out the degree and making money in the degree that they went to school for? They find something else along the way and they start finding their way. So, man, in God willing, this music, and I can't wait to listen to it in totality, will help encourage people to get to that source where we can find ourselves and find and understand not only who we are, but the time and what must be done.
That's right.
Real brother Toure, I got two more for you. Since Youngkhan get a little spoiler, we talked about it's one song called "We Cry Together," and there's another one called "Sober." It says mother/sober. The one that's titled mother/sober, that's about a 6-minute spoken word piece with music. When I tell you, by the time that's almost over with, you may want to cry a little bit, because he does paint a picture where when you talk about self-examination, self-analysis, see, right before you get there, you got to be honest with your analysis and your examination.
Come on, that's right.
You got to be willing to get rid of the fig leaf.
That's right.
And if you're not willing to get rid of the fig leaf, to the degree that you keep hiding, will be to the same degree that you're going to do a misdiagnosis, or you're not going to even open yourself up for the help that you could get, the support you could get, or the healing that you could begin. Because when we hide, we're leaving out essential, critical aspects of life. In 6 minutes, he went into a lot of critical things that he lied about, things he told the truth about. You know, things that happened in his life where the family wanted to know, did somebody touch you? What happened with mama? Why mama get beat? What was behind that? It was like a lot of different things was going on. When you think about the lives that we've lived, being part of this American experiment again, the rape, the molestation, the beating, the torture, the emasculation, the dehumanization. When you think about just all the variety of things and what it does to the psyche, what it does to the mother's milk and the chemistry that comes through the breast, when you not only have fear now, but you get anxiety. Now you get trauma coming through the breast milk. But of course, they got in the news that baby formula, there's a shortage of baby formula, so maybe more people might decide to breastfeed. But before you breastfeed, you better make sure you're feeding your mind right.
That's right.
Because you don't want to have your baby nursing from the milk of fear, the milk of anxiety, the milk of grief, the milk of self-hatred. But he went there painting a picture. He did a magnificent job painting a picture. So the one that's called mother/sober, it most definitely is a mother, and if not anything else, it should make you want to be sober a little bit. It should sober you up where maybe you won't take the Percocet or the Xan and take a chance on it being laced with little fentanyl. And I have to say that because we get high school students, Youngkhan. Other day, boy from DeSalles High School, he popped a pill, didn't know it was laced with fentanyl, it exploded his heart.
They say fentanyl is the #1 cause of death in America for ages 18 to 44 right now.
They putting it in the marijuana. It's like you got so many different agents of death right now, and they're based upon us trying to cope. We're trying to self-medicate, self-soothe. We're trying to find ways to deal with the stress and the pressure and the drama and all those things that we have upon us, and we don't know how to deal with it. And so that's why when we start talking about, well, what's the next step? Like this just came out 13 hours ago, right? He done went to Africa. He set the world on fire. Now the question becomes, what are we gonna do with it? I got something for you. When you look up the definition and the etymology of the word morale, I had to look it up because we got to define our terms. Morale, it's a noun. It's defined as the confidence, the enthusiasm, and discipline of a person or group at a particular time. Right? That's morale.
Right.
However, the word morale is similar to words like confidence or self-confidence, self-esteem, spirit, the esprit de corps, team spirit, the heart, optimism, determination. But then when you go deeper into what words are synonymous with the word morale, you get words like outlook, resolve,
Right.
attitude, temperament, disposition, vigor, vitality, mettle. You also get, when you look up the word morale, you also get the word hope. You get the word hope. And there's so many that are feeling hopeless. They were just talking about the 18-year-old college student who killed herself. She was a cheerleader on the football team, and
Yes.
she wrote that letter, and she committed suicide. See, we have certain indicators that are letting us know that more and more of our young people and more of us, we're losing hope because of what we're seeing. So our hearts are failing us. Yes, the shock of the hour is here. It's not to come.
That's right.
It's here. It's not
That's
to
right.
come. And so we have to do the exact opposite of what we're seeing or what is causing what we're seeing. Because the causation of it, yes, our decision making. You have to be sober minded.
Mm-hmm.
Got to become sober minded. If you tripping off something that's laced whether with fentanyl or it's laced with a molly or whatever type of drug that's out there that's being mixed with, you got to understand that if you're not in your right mind and you're driving, we got all this acceleration of car accidents right now. It's like a damn epidemic, car accident after car accident. We have an epidemic because people are eating Youngkhan infused chicken wings, infused popcorn. They got infused salmon sliders. So everything is being infused, and you're about to drive a F-150 going down the highway for 3 hours and then going into another city, and you're about to do that after eating what?
Hey,
So,
brother Kevin Samuels, he was a massive Red Bull drinker.
I heard.
Right.
If you study the side effects of Red Bull, it leads to heart problems. If you look at vaping, right, they got so many tricks and techniques to get you. And I found it interesting. Still, we on our brother Kendrick Lamar with his the Heart Part 5. He talked and showed these what they call deep fake images. See, we live in that world now,
yeah,
to where you can appear to be what you in fact are not. Oh yeah, man, you can look almost identical. You Benzino say he don't know what happened with Shauna Brooks, but you can look at some of them and you can't tell if it's a man or if it's a woman. Oh boy, I call them Transformers. Shout out to the Transformers. Look, if you choose to be a Transformer, that's your bit. I ain't got nothing to do with that. But I'm just saying, we know that it is a biological impossibility for two women to ever reproduce. It is a biological impossibility for two men to reproduce. So that type of behavior leads to the demise of the human family itself. This is facts. This is not opinion. This is not my perspective. This is just the reality of it. God did not create us to be homo. That ain't the way that you need an input and an output. You need it to go both ways in order for that thing to happen. But these deep fakes, he brought Kobe Bryant back. He brought O.J. Simpson in the picture. He brought Will Smith in there. He brought Jussie Smollett in the game. All of these people are controversial and polarizing figures in our society and in our culture, that you can't just sit on one side of the fence when you dealt with that. When Will Smith went up there and slapped Chris Rock, see, that divided the people.
Mm-hmm.
When OJ was deemed not guilty, that divided the people. Oh, when Jussie Smollett said he was attacked, that divided the people. When Nipsey Hussle was untimely, he died from his untimely assassination. It divided the people. We are living in the time of the great divide, where every man and every woman must go to their own. So we also live in a time of great opportunity, but we can never get where we're trying to be, being a world of deep fakes, where you trying to look like and sound like the next person. You trying to be the next Cardi B. You trying to be the next Megan Thee Stallion. You trying to be the next Kobe Bryant. No, don't be the next them. Be the first you.
The first you. Gotta be the first you.
Because a person like you, each one of us never was. And
that's right.
Each one of us will never be again. We are uniquely who we are, as one of my teachers, Brother BNX, say, you are what makes you unique. And we find it difficult to be ourselves because we're too busy being deep fakes. We're too busy trying to be somebody else.
You know, the other aspect of the equation is that when you don't truly know yourself, extremely difficult for you to be yourself. So then you begin to look around and see who you can be. It's natural when you're a child, look at your daddy or look at your uncles and say, man, he got big muscles. Oh man, he know how to fix cars. And you're looking around to try to see, where you fit in. However, you got to learn more about you.
That's
and
right.
Unfortunately, we're so distracted where we don't take the time to self-reflect. Introspection is not just a word that people use as a fancy word. No, taking the time to say, hey, what do I really like?
That's it.
What do I really like? Where do I really want to go? What do I value? What do I see within myself that I really want to put when we don't take the time to do that, which on one side of the equation, we know, well, it's designed, the society we live in is designed to keep you away from the process of just thinking, just taking the time to think and reflect. You really have to take the time to do that. However, if you in the hustle and bustle of, I got to make money, I got to do this, I got to do that. Right. Well, hold on a minute. When do you have time for you? When do you have time to relate to you and your source?
Right.
Your spirit, mind, emotion, and body. Where's the unity at within yourself? If there's no unity within you, you can't unify with other people. If there's no unity within yourself and you don't like yourself, well, one person that don't like themselves can't unite with somebody else and they don't like themselves. They say ugly don't like ugly.
That's right.
So you have to get to love you, and of course, as we were beautifully told, you gotta adore yourself. You gotta get to the point where you can adore you. And if you can adore you, man, I adore that brother Youngkhan and what he do. I adore that brother Toure and what he do. That brother Anthony, that sister so-and-so. I adore them for what the creator put in them. That means you get rid of all your haters.
That's right.
You begin to see that a hater is nothing more than a self-hater, because they don't know themselves, don't love themselves, don't respect themselves. But when they start to love themselves and respect themselves, man, that hater gets turned around and now they got a heart of flesh.
Come on.
Instead of stone. And now that poison begins to subside now, because now some healing is coming in, because first you acknowledge the fact that you're here for a purpose, you're here for a reason. And so that's why when you start to have art forms that begin to produce these kind of what they call artifacts, you're producing music or artistry or those things in the atmosphere you can talk about, that now we can use it to uplift, we can use it to elevate, we can use it not to degenerate and deteriorate the spirit, the mind, the emotion, and the body of each other. That's the reason why we have to communicate about these kind of things, because we spend so much time talking about, well, it was 14 people shot, and rightly so, we should be upset and angry about that. However, as Youngkhan just said a few minutes ago, what are we willing to do about it?
That's right.
All of us got our lanes, we got our roles. What are we willing to do about it? Because everybody can't do everything, and everybody shouldn't try to be in every lane. However, we do need, in this warfare, we need everybody to understand, find your position. You might be one of those archers up there. You might be somebody that's able to knock down, you know, enemies that's flying high in the air. You know what I mean? You might have to be one that's on infantry. You know what I mean? You may have to stay in post and make sure nobody takes away our manufacturing over here. You know what I mean? But everybody has a role to play. But when you got too many of us sidelined and sidetracked and we distracted and diverted, where we looking at, hey, that's bad what's going on. Can you believe this? Somebody should say something. Somebody should do something. Well, no, you are the somebody.
That's right.
You have to say something and do something and be about something. You just got to begin to remove that poison or allow someone to help you to remove the poison so then you can see the true you and be the real you. Because once you become yourself, you join in the warfare.
Hey, that's one reason that they're in the playoffs right now. You got a lot of people that know stuff. You got a lot of people that can play, but can we play together? Can we have a team spirit? Can we, as the minister said, know our role? Oh, you had LeBron James on the team. You had Dwight Howard on the team. You had Russell Westbrook on the team. Oh man, you had some straight up
all in.
There's no way that they should not be in the playoffs when you look at the level of talent, and there's no way that our community should be in the condition that is in when you look at all the brilliant minds among us. But if LeBron playing by himself and Westbrook trying to just hog the ball all the time and ain't nobody passing, they had Carmelo Anthony on the team.
Yeah, Melo.
They had all stars. These are future Hall of Famers we talking about, and they did not even make round one of the playoffs. Right. I take that to be a sign for us as a people that it is not enough for this one to be talented or for that one to be great, but we are only as strong as our collective unity. America is called the United States. The United States. They are united, even though they have different governors, different mayors, different police departments, different local governments. They all agree to come up under one umbrella, and to the degree that they are able to be one nation, indivisible, under God with liberty and the pursuit of happiness. That is to the degree that they can experience the best that this world has to offer. And we as a people can't sit around and wait for Joe Biden or Kamala Harris or whoever the next one gonna be. If Trump do a U-turn and come back in the office, we can't sit around and wait for the White House to get us out of our black condition. We have to be able to recognize greatness in each other and stop passing the buck and stop passing the ball. That's why Philadelphia got knocked out the game last night, because Joel Embiid, who was injured, he can't win the game by himself. No one of us, no matter how great we are, we can never win this game by ourselves. I need Brother Enoch. I need Brother Toure. These brothers need me, because we all add our separate seasonings that we put in the pot to make for a delicious recipe. So we got to stop fighting the funk. We got to stop being deep fakes. We got to stop acting like problems that are pink elephants in the room. We got to stop acting like we don't see them, and we have to stop being afraid to call it out, because we might lose our job. You already lost your job when you got hired to work 12 to 16 hours a day on something you don't love. God didn't call you here to do that. He called you here to do a specific work, but you too busy trying to be a deep fake and get you a $300,000 G-Wagon. Oh yeah, you trying to be a deep fake, trying to get the latest Jordans. You out here deep faking, not the video, you the video. But how much of your video is props? How much of your video is rented? How much of your video is fake food? Oh yeah, they got food artists. They can put the glue on there to make it look like it's melting cheese, but it's really
it's melting glue.
Right.
LaShonda,
it's so much fake.
Hey, LaShonda said that's why she missed our rap. It was not perfect, but we did have some type of movement, like self-destruction, express yourself, and fight the power. They were saying something. This rap nowadays is so toxic. I'm 50 and I love music, but I can't listen to what's on the radio anymore. Well, that's the reason why we have to consider what we've been told for I don't know how many years. we have to set up our own industry, and we have to be willing to support those artists who are doing what's necessary to build our people up. Because this art form started with us when they didn't like it and didn't want it. However, once it became lucrative and they began seeing signs of it being a very valuable resource, that's when it was taken over. And so now we have to be about the business of saying, you know what? That's a valuable resource that we really own that. That's ours. It's just that we have to now be of the mind to take back what was ours and to conquer. Right. It got to be a spirit of conquering, because they're not going to give it back easily. I mean, this is making trillions of dollars. You know what I mean? This is actually producing attitudes and beliefs that's feeding the prison industrial complex. It's feeding those who produce the Percocets. You don't have a rapper say Percocet 10,000 times in one album and don't think there's no payment happening. You know, you can't. I remember P.D. Pablo. Remember P.D. Pablo years ago? He had put in one of his songs, he talked about Seagram's gin, and he said, hey, I drink it and they paid me, so that's why I got it in my song. Drink Seagram's gin, because I drink it and they paid me to put this in my song. So when we start considering the fact that, hey, this is a business, this is an industry, they make money off our misery. Black death is what keeps them in the black. Absolutely. So we have to be about the business of bankrupting those whose profit is our misery.
That's right.
If you profit off our misery, it's time to put these asses out of business. That's what time it is.
Put them out of business.
You profit off of us,
and
it's all about our segregation and the degeneracy of us as a people. Okay, hey, thank you, but no thank you.
Hey, brother,
that's right,
Enoch.
that's right.
In addition to that, in response to my sister that talks about this generation of rap that we're dealing with now, I agree that it's some of the most low down that we couldn't even fathom this. But remember, today's fruit is a product of yesterday's root.
The apple don't fall too far from the tree.
With self-destruction, we were on track with the revolution. We was on track with fight the power. But remember, you are dealing with a wise enemy, a crooked deceiver who can study the trends. Remember, they can. Migos got a song. We set the trend. They set the trend. Well, they think they set the trend, but who set them in motion?
Right.
Because it was a time where the Migos wasn't popping. Oh, but somebody said I could do something with this. See, we on the chessboard, but who's moving the pieces?
Yeah, a lot of pieces being moved.
We in the game, but what position are we? Are we the kings and the queens? Are we the pawns, the knights, the bishops, and the rooks that's making the wrong moves, getting slaughtered on the playing field? We have to be mindful that these babies that we produced, it's our babies that are saying, pull up at that red light, twerking on them headlights. They got a song right now say they gonna pull up at a red light. All the girls gonna jump out with their ratchet ass friends and start twerking on the headlights. See, whose daughter is that? No, don't talk about the baby. No, where's your mama at? That's what I want to know. They just locked the sister up who gave her 14-year-old or 13-year-old permission to marry a 47-year-old man. Oh yeah,
that was in Indiana.
I don't know what city it was in, but you could just Google it. Woman, she just got 30 years for allowing her 13 or 14-year-old daughter to marry a man in his 40s, late 40s at that.
That's sex trafficking and everything that we've heard about.
Right.
We have become twisted, disembodied spirits, deep fakes. We look like we are divine, but when you peel back the layers and open up our mind, what is sitting inside of our thoughts? Who occupies and sits on our throne? Our babies, they don't, as Brother Enoch teaches in Hip Hop Detoxx, that their ears are like tape recorders and their eyes are like video cameras. So saying, but they saw all them blunts we were smoking. They saw all that we was rolling up. They saw all them 40 ounces we was drinking. Yeah, we forgot about Akinelli and NWA.
Oh yeah, we forgot about that quick.
Out Too Short.
Right.
Oh, we can't act like that the babies didn't get it from somewhere now.
Right. That's right.
Oh yeah. The poison always starts at home.
Poison go back a long way.
Oh yeah.
Forgot about nasty as they want to be.
Hey, Youngkhan, we can go even further than that. In 1934, there was a woman. Her name is Lucille Bogan.
Come on now.
1934. She has a song called "Till the Cows Come Home."
Come on.
"Till the Cows Come Home" would make Cardi B blush.
That's right.
Lil' Kim, Nicki Minaj, Meg Thee Stallion, they all would be in shock that somebody from 1934,
before television, radio was the only thing we was listening to, they found somebody to do a race record with, and they looked for the raunchiest, nastiest song that they could produce in a series of songs that produced the Millie Jacksons that would come later on. It would produce the Dolomites and all those who had the raunchy records, the Joe Tex and the Clarence Carters and all the blues songs that's real raunchy. Yeah, I
produced all of that. But that song right there, bro, if you just listen to it one time, Brother Tory, there's no rap song I can compare to. You know what? I got a couple that could compete with it, but this right here, when you listen to it, first of all, there's no hip hop in it in terms of the beat. You're hearing some straight up 1930 back in the woods music, but the lyrics, oh, she telling you I'm a bitch from Baltimore.
Come on.
That's what she say in the song. I'm a bitch from Baltimore. And she talks about her men and how she like her men and what she does and how and what her, she goes all the way there. The language is there and everything. Got the slang of the 30s in there. But that's why it was so important for somebody to come in the 30s to start getting us up out of the mud. Because many of us was not only up to our eyelids in the mud, a lot of us was drowning. We were so deep in the mud of this civilization that we was just suffocating in it. And so they made records that were popularized because they could use it for their purposes, just like the young people are being used to this at this very moment. They're being used to spread the poison. But that's why we got what we got right now going on, because we coming after the poisonous and rusty locks. That's what we're doing right now. We're coming after the poison and rusty locks. And we ain't talking about the 13, 14, 15-year-olds. How about them 50-year-olds?
Come on now.
60-year-olds.
Come on.
How about the ones with doctor degrees and master degrees? How about the ones who driving a Benz? You got a Maybach, but you're poisonous.
They all poison.
What's your relationship life with your children? What is that like? What's your relationship like with yourself? You know what I mean? What is that like? You know what I mean? So when you begin to look at these,
that's it.
You're dealing with private hells that produce a lot of personal and public disruptions and conflicts and issues that spill out into every institution in society. So if we don't deal with these private hells, I ain't say private summers, sisters, I said private hells. If we don't deal with the private hells, not private summers, but private hells, male and female alike, then all of it spills out into our personal and public lives, and it touches and harms the people because we don't keep our poisons to ourselves. It spills out like a nuclear.
It spills out. It oozes out.
And it goes into the waters.
Yep, that's right. Hey, listen, brothers, man, it's so much to keep unwrapping in this conversation, but we have come up on an hour. We got to do a part 2. We got to keep this conversation going. Man, you all just sparked so many thoughts in my mind from the plot and the plan of our enemy to keep us captive and keep us encaged, the dumbing down of America, the proliferation of the use of our artists in that area, man, to just keep us locked into a certain frequency, and we not evolving and growing above it. But we are thankful to artists like Kendrick Lamar. We're thankful for the analysis that you all give to it to show that, and I'm gonna close with this, if I may. There's a story in Charlotte that's gonna be in the Final Call newspaper about our sister Naseba Muhammad at the Grammys.
Okay.
And she was in full MGT regalia, gold from head to toe. She had her mother Khadijah crown on.
Crazy.
And her and brother Don Enoch said that there was so many people stopping them, black, white, young, old, as they were walking to tell her how beautiful she looked. And there was one young lady in her 20s in particular that was described as having just a little bit, maybe more than a Band-Aid, covering herself up, who was struggling to pull up her garment as she went to tell Sister Naseba how beautiful she looked, fully clothed, modest and regal. So our people are yearning, right, for God to come, and those of us who have the knowledge, those of us who are in the Reformation process and who align with in the Spirit of God, we just got to keep showing up like you two brothers consistently do. Keep showing up, and the God in them is going to see the God in us, and they're going to respond.
That's right.
Yes, sir. Well, hey, we look forward to part 2.
He said, you
Yes,
ain't
sir.
got
Absolutely.
a dirty glass. Just set a clean one beside it, and the people will know which one to drink from. We gotta be about Father's work and keep putting these clean glasses out here and stop worrying about what everybody else is doing, man. Just do you. Quit being a D. We'll see y'all.
That's right. That's right. That's right. All right, so stay tuned, brothers and sisters. We'll let you all know about part 2. God willing, it may be tomorrow, maybe Sunday, but we'll keep you posted. And y'all make sure y'all liking and following Being Soup Times and Hip Hop Detoxx, and stay plugged. And follow, you see at Youngkhan ThaDon, that's on Instagram or Facebook.
Everything.
That's right. That's right. And get the book Poison Books at poisonbooks.com.
Yes, sir.
Assalamu alaikum.
Like salam. Peace.